Hello, everybody, and welcome to our episode number 86. Very exciting. So I'm very excited to have Rick Munger as our guest. Rick is a serial entrepreneur in healthcare tech and a founder of Eiger Creative. So welcome, Rick. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
And what is on your mind today?
What's on my mind? As of late, we are just kicking off our QR Meds product line. And we have one of the co-founders of QR Meds is going to be heading to the NCPA show in New Orleans next month. And going to be bringing with him information about QR Meds to the pharmacy attendees that are there.
So you might just have to tell us what QR Meds does.
Right.
QR Meds, to put it short, is a solution to help pharmacies with counseling. And what that is when you go to the pharmacy, you often sign a HIPAA release. And in that HIPAA release says that you also waive your right to a counseling right there on the spot, which could be nothing more than asking a question about why is this pill red instead of blue? Something simple. QR Meds is a solution that puts a simple QR code on that vial or on your blister card and allows you to go home. And if you have questions about the pill, you scan the QR code. It's going to bring up a screen, an AI-generated bot that's going to tell you about that drug that's in the bottle. It'll tell you the good things, the bad things that could happen to you. It's going to tell you why it's red instead of blue. It's going to tell you, about the brand name, etc. And then there's another option for giving you directions. So, for instance, if it was a inhaler for asthma, it'll tell you instructions on how to use the inhaler. So you can pick information about the drug, information about usage. And then at the end, it's going to have information about the pharmacy you got it from. So if you still have questions after all of that, you can still contact the pharmacy.
So,
Rick, how do you
amazing. Oh, sorry, Eric. I was going to say it's an amazing idea because on my end, I have Googled up instructions and dosages and double checked many a times after throwing out that envelope from the pharmacy.
Right.
Yeah,
like many a time. So
yeah,
yay!
I get that 8.5 by 11 form that comes with the instruction form that comes with it, and I read all through it, and then I put it down and I forget what I did with it, and I need it a week later. So,
and me on the other hand, I don't even read the 8 by 8.5 by 11 form. I just throw it out.
yeah. But if you have a prescription for your child and you want to know in the middle of the night they're sick and you're going to give them the pill, you want to know a little bit about it before you put it in their mouth. That's what this is for. And
so I want to ask a question about this because, obviously we all know about hallucinations by AI. How do you manage that aspect of how do you vet that the AI is saying the right thing about the drug?
That's a very good question. So on my description of underneath my name here says DosePlanner. Because I worked with DosePlanner for years with pharmacies, one of the things that happens is that the pharmacies will fill the blister card according to DosePlanner's instructions. They'll fill the blister card for the patient, they seal it, and then one of the steps they do is they give it to the pharmacist to check it before it goes out the door. So the same thing, we do the same thing with QR Meds. So when AI helps us generate this what do they call mannequin or whatever, this little figurine that tells the person all about the medication, before that script gets read by AI, it's vetted by a licensed pharmacist. So we do have 3 pharmacists that are on staff and they vet every single one of, and currently we have about 18,000 different videos that are out there.
So it's a very good example of using AI to augment human workflow to then check by human to ensure that AI did the job according to regulations and safety and every standard.
We're using AI to do the generation of the video, but before AI even generates it, we look at the script, vet it, and then somebody also listens to the script before it's ready for production use.
So is this on a one by one drug basis, or is it even more granular than that? Your 18, all of these videos that you're creating.
That's a good question. So no, it's on a one by one drug basis. So if you had metformin is a drug name that's used, I think, for as a blood thinner, and so one of the things that shows up as in metformin is the description of the drug. The AI bot will read everything to you, but it's also going to show you pictures of the various pills. So you may have, it's going to tell you may have one of these pills depending on the manufacturer. So your pharmacist may have, so it might show 5 pictures because one of them is by Pfizer, one of them is by Merck, one of them is by somebody else. So just to make the person feel that, okay, they did get the right product.
Yeah, so and actually, this is a real problem because my wife just literally like 2 days ago was like, "Why do they keep changing the shape of this pill? Did I get the right dosage or whatever?" And we looked it up online, whatever. But this is exactly what you're talking about.
And what was the start of this is that some of the pharmacists have a drive-through window. The pharmacy may be in an old bank, and they have a drive-up window, etc. And people start asking questions with 4 or 5 cars behind them. And if anybody's gone to McDonald's lately, you know what happens then. There's horns honking, and, So
road rage.
Road rage begins. It's awful. So the pharmacist got a hold of me and says, "Rick, you did DosePlanner. Can you help us out with this idea? And can you do something with counseling?" And I said, "Yeah, let's see what we can do." And
so it's interesting, Rick, as you're talking about this, I'm remembering an event I went to. It was like a pitch event, and somebody was pitching an idea of taking all this information about drugs and actually creating a more dynamic system, which is obviously harder to control and vet. But the idea was that you could, depending on who was looking for the information, you could say like, "I am a patient. I'm a doctor, I'm a caregiver," whatever it is, and it would give you the information in a way that was more relevant to that person. So have you explored any of that sort of?
Actually, we explored the thing that one of the problems you find if you're going to go Google for information about the drug you're going to take, you're going to find a very clinical definition that's out there, which sense to a doctor because they're reading it every day, but it's not going to make sense to the average parent that's giving it to their child. Right. So one of the pharmacists on our team years ago did a very extensive study into changing things into plain English. So they had a huge library of drugs definitions that were in plain English. So we relied heavily on that and mixed it with the clinical information and let AI come up with a good ending script, which was then vetted by a human.
So I have a question on that, Rick. The AI component of it sounds like shoulders a lot of work that otherwise would have taken years to compile.
Correct.
Would that be fair to say? And how and in what form have you used AI in here?
Well, we're using AI to generate the actual video. So we have for lack of another name, an AI bot, a figurine called Albert. Albert kind of looks sort of like Albert Einstein, but not really. So Albert is your assistant that guides you through
Yep.
the video, and that's what we did. And what it does is it saves us all of that video generation time. So typically a single video was running us about 4 days to generate a video. So you'd have to describe your idea to the videographer. They set it up, they run something. They can't do much with cartoons. Not that we don't have a cartoon, but it's close between halfway between a human and a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were saying, okay, well, you have to hire a real person. So now we had to get a model, with a lab coat that looks professional to describe something. So yeah, it took about 4 days per video times 18,000, because the average
That's gonna be a
pharmacy
lot of
uses
time.
about 18,000 drugs. And that does not include the over-the-counter. So now we also have to have something for diabetic socks. We also have to have something for Bayer aspirin. We also have to have something for Robitussin, cough syrup.
Well, and
So-
revisions, I assume, with a human filming and all that is a nightmare. Whereas if you needed to revise a video, in your current model, it's straightforward, right?
Yeah, right now it's down to roughly between 1 and 2 hours per video to do a generation.
What kind of
And maybe another hour for verification.
What kind of if you were to sort of think through like the amount of, you mentioned before this process of, creating them and then having it vetted by a human pharmacist, how accurate is how much correction is needed? I mean, is it pretty accurate the first time around, or do you have to generally correct things?
It was, I looked at it, and because I'm not a pharmacist, but I've been around it because of DosePlanner for the last 20 years. I looked at it, and I'd say each of the videos being generated by AI are at about 98% perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
One of the things they had a problem with was, say, for instance, there's a drug called amlodipine. Well, amlodipine is the proper pronunciation according to the pharmacy. And AI was coming in as amlodipine.
Oh.
So not a huge difference, but enough to make us do it over again and get it right. So when we set up the scripts for AI to run, we have to make sure that we phonetically provide the phonetic pronunciation of the drug.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So Rick, you used AI to, in essence, reinvent this business, right? Where else are you seeing the opportunities for AI reinvention in healthcare?
In healthcare, oof.
Because the reason I'm asking is because everybody says that they're endless, right? But we all know that the data in healthcare is so not ready for it that they're not really endless. But where do you see realistically we can see AI contributing in a near future?
Well, a lot of people that have this grand idea of AI don't like me, because I look at AI as more of a practical thing. So I grew up with computers for the last 40 years. AI is the next step in automation. It's a wonderful thing, but it's just another automation tool to me. So I look at it as saying, okay, we can apply things like one of the applications I have goes and takes the invoices that you have, scans the invoice, looks for all the pertinent fields that are on there, and enters it automatically into the database. So that way it's automatically ready for processing. So if it's a hospital, for instance, they can now get all of their billing from their food supplier or from their the laundry supplier. They can get all those bills and get everything automatic. The AI will go out to if the vendor allows it, it'll go out to the vendor's website, grab the latest invoice, and then bring it in and get it ready. So that way it can be paid right away.
I love this because this is very, like you said, practical and doable today. And it's not about this talk of some, huge idea that's not feasible. It's something that
Right.
could be done given the constraints of current data and saves a ton of time and helps a ton of people.
Yeah. And that's, I look at it as a very practical thing, is to say, okay, how can we employ this to save some time, increase productivity? And that's the way I deploy it. And that's why you're hearing about QR meds. We're going to now go back into DosePlanner, and we're going to write a whole new version with some AI in there so that it can help people do medication adherence.
So I'm interested in, Elena, you went like, that's very practical and using what we can do today. I'm really fascinated and I don't know if you're able to share this, Eric, but like, what's the big next thing? Like, what do you think is what do you think is the next sort of frontier in terms of pharmacy information and making it more accessible to patients?
The whole pharmacy world is changing right now, and independent pharmacy is fighting for its life. Insurance companies and what's called PBMs are really putting a stranglehold on independent pharmacy. So I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with legislation, to see if they can get the insurance companies to stop eating everybody else's lunch. So the next application, though, to answer that, I'd have to think about it, because for me, I walk around the pharmacy and I look for opportunity, as I do with another application. We were helping because of hospitals. We were looking at it, and they had a facility management company that was in there keeping the hospital up to date, fixing things, mowing the lawns, etc. And it occurred to us that we could help them with their productivity with facility management. So yes, we're looking at AI to help us with that. And what we're doing is we're taking the floor plans from the architects, entering them into the computer, and now they can visually see where the problems are within the hospital or skyscraper or whatever other building they do. Yeah.
How about the patient compliance side of things? I'll forget, I'll find that after my 3-month supply is supposed to run out. I feel like I've missed a bunch of days or whatever. Like, how is there anything that you're working on that helps the patient or the person taking the drugs?
Our DosePlanner product attempts to do that with a blister card, and it's set up. Typical blister card has 28 cells for 7 days a week, 4 med doses per day.
Yeah.
And this started. I was introduced to a company from the Midwest, and I said, "Look, I've got this idea." And they said, "Oh, we've got the thing for you," because I had worked at nursing homes when I was in high school. I was the janitor, and in those days there were no cell phones, so the nurses were looking at their meds for Mr. Jones, and their medication number 1 goes in the little cup, medication number 2 goes in the cup. Oh, they got a phone call. They run over to the wall where the phone was on a wire in those days, and they're talking on the phone. They come back. Okay, I got 6 meds here. Where was I? Okay, number 2. Number 2 goes in again, second time. So the patient gets overdosed on medication number 2. And I noticed that, and it didn't happen often, but it did happen. And I asked the nurses about it, and they said, "Oh, we try to be as careful as possible, but if you get interrupted, there's a problem." And that just stuck with me. I was 17 at the time, so it stuck with me all the way through college. And a friend of mine gave me a call around year 2000 and said, "Hey, Rick, I got this blister card. Can you come down here? Let's set something up." So we grabbed a beer in the back of his pharmacy and came up with a way to package, at that time, 4 medications into a blister card. And that helps people because All of your morning pills are here. Your afternoon pills are here. Your evening pills are all straightened out, and they're all packaged by the people that are supposed to touch it, the pharmacy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a nice, easy idea. And you see it a lot in nursing homes these days. So.
Right.
Um,
Jeff, do you want to jump in with some questions from ChatGPT or?
Yeah, I absolutely can. It's interesting because it seems to have picked up on the title more than the topic. So I'm just going to go with this a little bit, but I don't know if these questions are going to make a lot of sense. So since the title was using AI to reinvent yourself, it was the title that you shared with me in our forum. So I always like to ask, would you like absurd first or thought-provoking first?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear all of your question.
I said, would you like an absurd question first or a thought-provoking question first?
Surprise me.
All right, sounds good. So this one, remember, again, this is ChatGPT, so I take no credit for it. It says if you used using AI to reinvent your business, it said if you used AI to reinvent your wardrobe, would it be business strategist chic or Silicon Valley hoodie upgrade?
Yeah, that's absurd.
It's not being. It's not
know how to answer that one.
The AI makeover is something that's coming in the future, I guess. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Like I said before, I'll reiterate my idea is usually I look for an opportunity, and if AI can simplify the process, that's where to apply it.
Right.
And I don't look for all these grand schemes about AI can do all these wonderful things, but oftentimes if you're not careful, AI does it wrong. Right. So our whole goal here is we use AI very prudently in order to keep it under control, number one, but use it where it helps humans the most.
Well, so the second question I'll ask you is sort of along those lines. If you had an AI clone, what would you use your AI clone for?
If I had an AI client?
Clone.
Of your clone.
Of me. I might use my AI clone to be the poster boy instead of Albert. I might use Rick Munger as the guy.
Awesome.
Plus, I know before this video, you guys, I got up and I had my shorts on. You liked my legs, so there you go. So.
Absolutely.
So actually, I have a different angle I'm curious about. And, Jeff and I, right before this, or about an hour before this episode, we were actually talking to a VC. So I'm just curious, like, how did you get started? How did you fund your all these ventures that you started? Was it VC funded? Was it bootstrapped? Like, how are you doing all these cool things?
Eiger Creative is the overall company.
Yeah.
Eiger Creative was started because, frankly, as an employee, I was tired of having bosses saying, "No, you can't do that. We don't have the budget for that idea." And I would come up with an idea on how to do something, and it would be a better idea that's going to save them in the long run, but they didn't want to go near it.
Yeah.
So after hearing that at many of the companies that I worked with, I just said, okay, I'm going to be a consultant. And so I quit my job. I was at Pitney Bowes at the time. I quit my job, and to my wife's horror, because she says it's like diving off a cliff. Are we going to survive or not? So, but I ended up getting 3 assignments simultaneously right away within the first month. And it was that way for 20 years. And then it started to dry up as work started getting put overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
But at that time, I had already come up with and seen, doing consulting, you're able to go in and get a nice, beautiful snapshot of what the client is doing. you get to see many, many systems and ways to do things. And that gave me a wonderful insight and information I could bring to either the next client or a way to look at ideas and say, how can we improve productivity? And now I have AI there as a tool now to help me increase productivity even more. So
Absolutely.
long-winded. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, that was my,
That was
I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands. I'm sorry.
Well, Rick, I think we told you that these conversations fly by, and we are already, flown through this discussion. And so, as I think Eric mentioned, we like to finish up by letting each person sort of say what's one thing they took away from this conversation. And we always like to make our guests go first, just so they don't get a chance to think about it too much. So, thanks so much for this conversation. What's one thing you'd like to leave our audience with?
Wow, this was great. I mean, it gave me an opportunity to talk about the things that are going on at Eiger Creative and QR Meds and DosePlanner, which is great. Thank you to the audience for taking the time to listen. So yeah, that's my biggest thought.
great.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely. Well, so before I give my one thing, what's the best place if people want to sort of learn more or reach out to you, et cetera? What's the best place for them to do that?
The best place, they can go to the contact page on our website. They can go to right now on the screen is the our leadership page. You can read a little bit about me. And on that same page, there's two links, one to reach out and contact me, and the other one is a button for my LinkedIn page.
Awesome.
So that you can reach out that way. So you can see that I'm a real person. I did receive something from somebody the other day that said, I just want to make sure you're a real person. So they looked me up on 3 different places to make sure I was real.
No, it is interesting in this day and age where you do run into people who are actually fake profiles. It's over, but I totally get that. But Rick, this was great. I guess my takeaway, I think it's really fascinating as we were talking through this topic. I think this idea of like, there are things that we just haven't been able to do in the past in a rapid sort of scale perspective because the technology just didn't exist. And so it's fascinating. I love that, it's always interesting to me when you look at, how a technology, to your point, technologies often get used to do these wild, grandiose things, but sometimes the most interesting applications are just more mundane and just very useful. I like to think about nobody carries a pager with them anymore, but they still use pagers in restaurants to let you know that your that your table is ready or whatever it is. But anyway, I like that you are thinking about those uses that usually come 10 years later when somebody's like, oh, what should we do without that technology? And you're thinking about that right now. And so I really love that approach. And so that was my takeaway, and I will pass it to Elena.
So mine is, go ahead, Rick.
No, I just thanked him for that.
So mine is actually similar, and mine comes from the healthcare angle, and there is so much fluff going on right now about using AI in healthcare, and we can just change everything just like that overnight. While in reality, it's not going to be overnight. It's going to take a lot of work before we're in a position to do it. And it's only small fragments where it can be done. So what I appreciate is you finding this fragmented places where it can be done usefully today. And you are changing the workflows, you optimizing, you're saving time, you're saving money, you're saving the industry that is at burnout. And it's amazing. I'm talking about hospitals and also pharmacy. So what I appreciate the most is your practical assessment of a situation rather than trying to shoot for the stars. We're shooting for a concrete problem that could be solved today very practically. So I love that. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And My one thing is I like this concept, and actually I've been thinking about this in other spaces, but I like this concept that AI generates essentially the first draft, right? In other words, like the concept of generating 18,000 5-minute videos about all these different things is just daunting. And as you said, it takes, days to get these things done. And you've gotten this down to, a much shorter amount of time by creating that first draft and then having the human being come in and correct it and then go back and do it. And I think that is probably the most practical sort of real life uses of AI in the near future, as opposed to, as you said, these kind of like pie in the sky, we're going to solve, all the problems of the world in the next 5 minutes because AI is so smart, is probably less likely. But what you've done is much more practical, but it is absolutely building on that technology. So again, Rick, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a great conversation. Great to hear about what you're up to, and we are very interested in following along to see what you're doing next. So thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you.